is I'm going to put in a layer of shading here on this first mountain of lace, the mountain, and I've got some burnt umber here and a very little amount of water. Okay, so here we have a little bit of burnt umber and a very small amount of water mixed in with it. Now, when I don't want too much on the brush, so I've got a tissue and I'm just going to take off the excess. Now, as we know that this is our light source, I want to give some definition to these mountains here. For me, actually putting all these elements is like almost creating a stage set. Even though maybe some of this will be obscured by the end of the painting, I like to put in all these pieces all these elements into the painting as if it's a sort of stage set. And then things can come forward after that. But I wanted to kind of create a bit of light and shade on this mountain. I'm calling it a mountain, it's really a gentle hill. And I'm going to, as you can see, there's a bit of definition coming in. And I want to get some white now. So I've just got myself a lovely new white. Now, pop that a little bit onto the canvas. And it's very cold here. I've got these wrist warmers on in my studio. And right, so we've got the light source coming down here, and I'm going to put a bit of water, I've put a bit of water with the white, and I am creating a highlight on the top of this hill here. So just it's a glaze. Just when I talk about glazes, I'm actually just talking about water and paint, very thin layers of paint. So you can create these glazes with water and paint. Some people use glazing medium, I do too sometimes, but actually having done it so many times, I don't really need to use glazing medium. Now that gives some definition right there. Maybe a bit more brown. This is burnt umber, this particular brown. I like to use it because it's warmer in feel to the in colour. It's warmer. It's burnt umber, as you can imagine, is a kind of has a burnt or warm glow to it. So there we have some definition to that little hill there. A little bit more white, I think. And also we need to do that to this mountain here. So I'm going to get a little white, just a tiny bit on my brush. That's quite a lot, so I'm going to take away some, and I'm going to get my bristly brush and take some of it away and rub it into the canvas so that it isn't so harsh. There you go. And also where the light source is coming down onto this side as well, so the light is evenly distributed from this side and this side to this side. So there we are. And then I'm going to take some white and do the same on this side, so to create a different contour for this side. And I'm going to make it come down like that, and this one too, I'm going to make it come down. Yeah, like that. See, there's only a tiny bit of water and white, only a tiny bit of white on my brush right now, and that works better for creating some of these contours. And I might just take that up there, make it a little bit more bumpy. Even though some of these might be obscured later by details, and they probably will be, it's good to have them in place, because then when we're bringing, as we know, we're going to be making a painting of lovers in front of all of this. But it's like, as I say, a kind of stage set, so everything's in place. And this is just the way I paint. It just happens to be the way I paint, and that's why I'm sharing this with you, because it creates a certain kind of painting. Now we need a little bit more burnt umber, I think, for behind, so to create some depth behind this hill here. And this one here. And then behind this one. So you can see we've created quite a nice light and shade and depth going on with this. I'm going to put some more white there. And actually that's gone a bit brown, so I'm going to maybe taking out some of the pattern from the decoupage paper, but that's fine by me. There we go. Okay, so I'm just going to keep looking at this and seeing what needs to be done. I might make a bit more light here. And once you're happy with it yourselves, then stop. And the secret to good art, or any painting or good any art, is to know when to stop. If you don't want to overwork things ever, and to know when to stop. And do you want to just put a bit more white here? And at the top of this mountain here, and this one. Okay, I'm going to stop because I think that's good, and there will be so much more going on in this painting, so I don't need to worry too much. I'm just going to grab this, and always like these bristly brushes because they can just be used like almost roughly. So that one is getting close to being done. I might highlight a little bit more, just pick up more and more brushes as I go. I need to choose one. Yeah, that's a good one. Another slightly bristly one. There. So the next stage I'm going to think about is to put the tree in. So there we have the beginning of the mountain three-dimensionality taking shape. And the next thing is thinking about my tree and my lovers and some plants. I'm going to put flowers, plants, a tree and my lovers, and I feel like I want them to be kind of like in a Chagall style, almost floating above the mountains or above the, in between, sort of in the air, suspended adrift, and in a kind of dream. So next stage will be the tree. I've had a good look at the painting, and I really think that the tree needs to be on this side. I've started already to put it in with my Posca pen, and the beautiful thing about painting trees is they really do not have to be realistic. I want you to forget about realism, as already we've already done that. Obviously, everybody's painting will be completely unique to them and individual, and so will a tree. And how you know, have a look at trees, meditate on them, look at them, see the way the branches come out, and you know, sort of get smaller and smaller as the twigs grow further and further out. And but you don't have to paint like that. I mean, a tree can be just something as simple as this. I mean, I'm going to put my tree in. I want my branch to be reaching up to the middle of this mountain here. I have that, and I'm going to bring that down. And I don't necessarily look at trees when I paint them. Sometimes I do, but as I want my tree to be a tree from my heart and my soul rather than from my hand to eye coordination, I like to look inward almost when I'm painting the tree, and get the central branch going through with all the other trees, branches coming off. It's a very beautiful meditative thing to do. You can paint a tree any way you like. You can have the branches in spirals if you like. But what we're going to do eventually is decorate the tree. My tattooed trees, I like to call them. But first of all, we have to lay down the flat colour and all will be revealed, but just go through this process with me, just laying down the simple shape and symbolism of this tree. And what I hope for you is that when you're painting the tree, you will find a deep peace in just filling in the branch, filling in the flat shape of with the burnt umber. Just put a lot of burnt umber in your, a fair amount of burnt umber in your palette. And first of all, just start laying down the brown, just gradually filling in from where we have drawn out the, laying the flat, it's flat at first. This is my technique. It's flat at first, and then with a dry brush we'll create the three-dimensionality, and the Posca pen we will do the out with the patterning. And so what I love to do is just get into a meditation when painting the brown. All of it is a meditation. Sometimes the mind drifts off, of course, into many thoughts, but thoughts are still part of the meditation, in my opinion. So enjoy just laying down the brown of the tree. As you can see, I've now turned the painting upside down because I need to get to the higher branches. I wanted to say at this point that, of course, you do not have to have a brown tree at all. But what you need to do initially is a dark colour. So it could be a purple tree, a red tree, a green tree. I mean, I've done so many different coloured trees. But at the moment, the reason why I've decided to do a brown tree is because everything else is so pretty bright. As you can see, there's purple, pink, gold and blue. And I want to contrast it with a more of a naturalistic colour. And then you'll see when we get to the glazing stage over the pattern that there will be a little more colour going into the tree. So I just wanted to say that at this point, you can make your tree any colour you like. I mean, it'd be pretty good to have a ultramarine blue tree or a red, dark red tree. Any colour you like, or however, this is the colour I've chosen. Don't want to be too prescriptive here. You can choose your own colours. I just want to hold your hand and guide you in my method. When you get to the smaller branches, gently lift the brush slightly as you create more delicacy with the smaller details. And so there we have the beginnings of the tree. The next stage is, of course, the decorating of the tree, which is the truly wonderful, exciting part and the most creative part. And that's where we can get really lost in pattern making and even putting words into the tree and intentions and thoughts and desires, as if the tree is taking our desires and growing our dreams. If we wish to use words or just symbols, but we'll be doing that in the next video. So enjoy the process.